Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Broom Brothers, another summer edition of the show. This is, of course, the official podcast of the curling group, the Grand Slam of Curling, and Rock League. This is Chattin with a Captain 4, and I am thrilled to be sitting down with the captain of Team USA, Korey Dropkin. What's going on, my man? How's your summer been so far?
It's been good, John. It's been good. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. Busy with lots of work and running around and trying to get the to-do list tidied up before the curling season starts.
Hey, I get that. Now, I would love to know right off the top, can you tell me about the bet that you lost?
Right off the top. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't even think of it as losing a bet, more so it's before mixed doubles worlds, I was having drinks with a friend, and she was like, man, you know what? If you were to make the Olympics, you should do something that, makes you stand out. You should dye your hair blonde. And I'm like, absolutely not. But I was like, you know what? If we did qualify and came back from mixed doubles, qualified for Olympics, I was like, you know what? I'll dye my hair for you. I'm like, I've sacrificed everything in my life basically so far to,
So what's another thing?
Pursue these dreams. So, if I can come back qualified for the Olympics, crap, I'll dye my hair blonde. What's a new hairstyle? So that I got back, and like a week later I saw her. I hadn't dyed my hair yet, and she's like, so what's up with your hair? You're not blonde yet. I'm like, the appointment's in 2 days.
I mean, I was joking. I didn't think that you had actually made a bet, but I like that you immediately knew what I was talking about.
Yeah. I had gotten asked quite a few times about the hair. So I've gone through all the phases, being the full blonde, and it was quite the process. I'd never dyed my hair before, so it was a first for me. And the liquid mud basically that they slick on your hair, make it look all blue. And the first phase, it was like bright orange, and I'm like, this is what it's gonna look like.
Oh no, I'm in huge trouble.
And she's like, absolutely not. So I took a few times kind of dialing the color in, and she did a great job. But yeah, I figured I'd go through the whole process, between being fully blonde, the long tips, the frosted tips, which I'm at now, and after the next haircut, it'll be back to being a brunette. But
okay, so you're not doing it again. You're not. This was it. One-time deal.
It's a one-time deal. It's a one-time deal. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, you are going full. This is like full in-sync frosted tips right now that you've got going on, which is well, it's not a horrible look. I will say it's a little better than the full blonde, I think.
Yeah, that was honestly the first week to 2 weeks when I looked in the mirror getting ready for the day. I'm like, whoa, who are you? Memory check. Oh yeah, I'm a blondie now. The blondes are, everything's more fun blonde, right? The blondes have more fun.
Yeah, I think they say that. I mean, I also, congratulations. You had a big last couple months since I last talked to you, not just on the curling ice, but you also got engaged. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you is your fiance extremely mad that your engagement, the photos of your engagement are you with blonde hair?
She's not upset. No, she was definitely shocked that I definitely surprised her. I definitely kept things a secret leading up to picking out the ring and the whole process. But I will say that I had it in my head that I wanted to propose in the near future, and everything's unfolding in my head as I'm getting my hair slicked back to be dyed, right? And I'm like, one, I've got an interview with NBC Sports this Sunday, and two, in a month, I'm planning on popping the biggest question of my life. And I'm gonna be blonde for everything. I'm like, good Lord, here we go. Whatever.
Did your fiance end up liking the blonde, or was it kind of a no-go the whole way through?
Yeah, it's funny. I was meeting her at the gym like 20 minutes after, and I walk in. She could see that I was on my way, and so she was standing at the front door. And as I walked in, she's standing right there, looking at me like, "Damn it, you actually look kind of good." I'm like,
That's how you know she's the one, brother. I'll tell you
yeah,
that for free right now.
yeah. She's like, dang it, I just wanted you to look not good. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for the honesty too.
I love that. I mean, that is true love right there. You dye your hair blonde. She says, "Yeah, okay." It's a good sign for the future.
Yeah.
When inevitably things go south, it's good to know she loves you for you.
Exactly. Yeah. I definitely couldn't have. I didn't have that on my bingo card of being blonde when I got engaged. So.
It's a good memory, though. It'll be a good story, a good story to tell the kids. Well, look, your dad was kind of stupid once. So I had a similar thing. I only dyed my hair blonde once ever. I was 12, but it was kind of like a big thing when I was that age. And that was my family growing up. Only one time ever did we take family portraits, and it's
Yeah.
like the 6 months that I had blonde hair of my whole life. So it just like lives on in infamy on my family's mantle. And I guess it'll be the same story for you and your fiance. You'll be forever blonde.
That's fantastic. Oh my gosh.
Now, is it fair to say we can describe your summer as a shirtless summer? Do you own any t-shirts? I'm kind of, I'm seeing a lot of shirtless pics this summer, my man. What's going on?
I own lots of shirts. I own lots of shirts. You know what? When you're in the middle of a sweat, sometimes it's nice to go shirtless. But yeah, gotta give the folks what they want sometimes, every once in a while.
Yeah, that's why I wear 2 shirts at all times. I'm
Yeah.
giving the folks exactly what they want.
Especially Plysy. He likes to drive by my place, so I make sure if he's on his way, I take that shirt right off. Come on, Christopher.
You know what it is. Are you driving to the gym right now? You probably should be if you're not.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he's like what, 10 months away from retiring. There's no way he's on his way to the gym. Let's talk about your summer training, because we have been getting into that with some of the Rock League captains, and I think curling fans have an idea of what summer training looks like. For Canadians, we generally don't have ice up here, and we heard from Brad Jacobs, and a lot of the teams in Canada not really on the ice yet, obviously putting work in the gym. The European teams are all back on the ice now. What does it look like for you and your guys training in the States right now? Do you have ice? What are you doing aside from the gym to kind of get ready for this season?
Yeah, we've had ice in Minnesota, down in Chaska and Blaine for a majority of the summer.
Nice.
I think the folks down there are practicing. I think my guys took some much needed time off, and they've gotten back into it. The 2 guys, Andrew and Cooch, that are in the cities. I think they started practicing a couple weeks ago back on the ice. I took a good chunk of time off. Had my first session on the ice, just a long day, a couple Fridays ago. And then we've got our first practice session this weekend coming up before our PANS playoff in Chaska next weekend. So yeah, the whole summer has mostly been refreshing, pressing that reset button, working on the physical, working on the mental, and getting ready for when the ice time, when it's time to hit the ice.
Yeah, totally. So when you say PANS playoff, is that to get into the Pancontinental or to represent the States? What's the playoff?
Yeah, it's to represent the States. So in the past, they've usually just sent the previous national championship winner. And this year they decided we'll do a double round robin between the 3 teams that are already into the Olympic trials for November. So, on our side, we got Casper Schuster and ourselves, and then there's Cousins, there's Strauss, and then of course Peterson. So
Gotcha.
double round robin next weekend, and then the winner of that tournament will go to the Pancontinentals.
So you're getting into it already, because you were telling me just before we recorded your first event's coming up in a couple weeks too in Scotland. So you guys you're pretty much at this point, we're recording on July 31st. You're pretty much back into it.
Yeah, it's crazy to say July 31st we're back into it, but we're back into it like full steam ahead, and practice this weekend, the playoff next weekend, and then the weekend after that we leave for Scotland for that Euro Series event. So it's curling season. It's crazy.
We're here, man. Yeah, it's going to be a long season too. Obviously, it's an Olympic year. We'll have all of the slams and everything before that, and of course, after that's all done, it's time for Rock League. It's going to be an exciting one, and obviously, we know there's only one U.S. team. You're the captain of that U.S. team. Tell me what that means to you, to be able to be the guy that's representing the U.S. in Rock League.
Yeah, it means everything to me. Super honored to be asked to be the captain of the U.S. franchise. I'm stoked to really see how this league, is built and how it grows and develops, and the kind of things that the curling group's got in stock for the league. Excited to see what the rest of the franchise shapes out to be. But it's an honor to be the captain. There's plenty of U.S. Legends out there that are still curling that could have been chosen, and thrilled to be the captain and be able to lead the franchise.
Yeah. So why do you think they chose you with all those legends out there? What makes you the guy?
It must just be the shirtless photos that I've been putting out there. I don't know.
It is that for sure, I think.
I think it's just a lot of, it's the sacrifice and the time and effort that, I've been putting into the game, and, all the athletes do in the US and around the world, but definitely feel like I've been, getting to the top of that curve where, you go through all your, those learning opportunities, and I've been so close in the past, and just haven't quite, made that last shot or turned the corner to success. And I feel like last season was really that, getting that monkey off my back, winning mixed doubles trials, not losing a best of 3 in a trials, but also, of course, before that, winning the national championship. It was a big season for us. So I think just, all the work that my teams have put in, but, all the dedication that I've made for this sport, it's nice to be able to have it pay off, and, to be in the position that I'm in. It's certainly nothing that I take lightly by any means. And I hope to be able to lead the franchise and show, what the U.S. is really made of.
Yeah, you talked about your amazing year. I mean, no question, the best year of your career in terms of accomplishments. And as you said, you've put all the work in. I think a lot of us kind of think of, when we think of sports, we think of the stars in those sports. We think of the Michael Jordans and the LeBron James and, those kind of guys. Is that where you would like to see yourself as well? Do you see yourself as kind of like the next curling star of America, or maybe the first? I mean, it's hard to say that we've, I guess John, obviously with this big win in 2018, but I feel like you're uniquely positioned perhaps to kind of be the next guy. Is that something you're thinking about or that you want?
I can't say it's something that I don't want. I mean, if I can be in that position, it would, I wouldn't say be a dream come true, but it'd be a pretty darn cool position to be in. I think that, what I've always strived for is to just put my best on the table, and work on what I need to work on to, make sure I'm prepared, and that I can show up and be the best curler that I can be. Truly, I love the sport that we play, and the friendships that we make. What comes from that, I kind of just let unfold. If I can be I wouldn't ever say I could compete to be in an image like Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Tiger Woods by any means.
Anything's possible, baby.
Anything's possible, little KG. But, you know, what I would say is that I would love to be in a position where I can, you know, be you know, be an inspiration to the next generation, the kids that are growing up, and seeing that, you know, US curlers can actually, you know, make a living financially. And that's something that growing up I knew wasn't possible. And that's something that I wanted to change. You know, do I have the cards to change that in the past? No, but you know, now I feel like we're starting to turn that corner to where it's actually potential. There's some potential there, and you know, seeing especially like a mixed gender league that we have coming here from Rock League, and the opportunities that presents. You know, the upcoming boys and girls in our sport and in the U.S. It's a pretty sweet privilege that we have, and an opportunity that, you know, hopefully will continue to build and create a whole bunch of dreams for those kids growing up.
Yeah, I love you saying that, because I think a lot of us don't think of the financial part of it necessarily for the American teams. I think we talk a lot about how some of the European teams and Asian teams are funded by their sport federations. Obviously, we know in Canada, the sport is huge here, and that can lead to massive sponsorship deals for the teams. But yeah, I think a lot of the fans don't know that necessarily in America, it's not like you're raking it in. Obviously, you have some support from USA Curl and you have some sponsorships, but I kind of feel, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, it might be the hardest actually as an American curler to make a living at the sport.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, if you look at all the teams across the board, you know, all of us have full-time jobs. You know, we're trying to make a living on the side of our full-time job of trying to be, you know, semi-professional curlers, you know, trying to, you know, pursue our dreams and in the sport that we love and that we want to be the best in. But, you know, the recognition, the financial piece, all of that in the US isn't quite there. I mean, you walk around Canada, and when you're at a curling event, everyone's like, oh my God, that's Brad Gushu, or, you know, Jacobs, Dunstone. You walk around the US, especially even in your own town, I mean, you're just a regular person, right? You know, you might go win, like Korey and I winning the mixed doubles world championship. Well, we come home and we're on to our regular day, or, you know, back to work. So it's, you know, it's not about the recognition. It's just about, you know, trying to be the best that we can be, and bring home some hardware at those world level events, and trying to get to, you know, those 5 rings that we've always dreamed about. And you know, I remember back in 06, I was watching, you know, Pete Fenson and Schuster and Sean and Joe on the ice, you know, winning that Olympic bronze medal. And that was like the coolest moment of my life. And that's when the dream started. And so 20 years later, you know, having that opportunity to go back to Italy, that's a dream come true right there. And that's why we curl.
Totally. And I do want to talk about the Olympics with you in a second, but before we get there, I'm giving every captain that's coming on the podcast a chance to potentially influence the powers that be who are selecting the Rock League teams. Obviously, we know you'll probably be involved in the decision making, but ultimately the decision will not be yours as far as who is on the American Rock League team. So I'm giving you the floor. Who's one person you want to see on the US team? You can get it out there now.
Corey TC, give me my teammate, best shot maker out there. Let's go.
Well, yeah, if there's a mixed doubles component of Rock League, I can imagine that you will want Corey alongside you there.
You know it. You know
it. Now, are you a little bit nervous? Because when we're thinking of Rock League, we're talking about big regions here, right? Like there's 2 European teams. So that's encompassing teams from 40 some odd countries. We're talking about the same thing in Asia. Obviously, we know how deep curling is in Canada. Is there a part of you that's a little bit nervous? Like you don't have maybe that huge player pool to draw from as the captain of America.
Yeah, I think the most nervous part, to be honest, is basically the relationships that we've all made around the U.S. You know, we all have our own teams right now. We, you know, are close with the teams that we play against, and truly there's 5 males and 5 females that are going to be chosen for this franchise. And, you know, all these athletes that, are going to, that are the best in our sport in the US, they're all going to be at trials, and only a select few of them are going to be in the franchise. And, that includes some of my teammates potentially. So, everyone here is dedicated so much and working their butts off to, try to get a break and try to earn an opportunity like this. And, so there's going to be a lot of, people that, their dreams are coming true. And there's going to be a lot of athletes out there that I'm close with that, are probably gonna be a little heartbroken. That's probably my most, the thing that I'm most anxious about is, the emotions that surround, those that are selected and those are not. When it comes to the pool that we're working with, obviously, yeah, like Canada, Europe, the Asian countries are, they have a big pool to work from. But we're going to do what we can to, make the most dangerous team out there for the franchise, for the league.
Love it. Now let's talk about the Olympics, because I feel as though you sort of found yourself in a very pressure-packed situation. You not only had to win the mixed doubles trials for the US, but then you had to have a good enough finish at the World Championships to avoid going through the OQE and all that kind of stuff. I know fans who are listening who curl, that's the part of the sport that is maybe the hardest, is performing in those pressure packed moments. And you've been in a lot of those pressure packed moments. And I think fair to say a lot of times you've ended up on the wrong end of those moments. So what was it this year that you and Korey kind of tapped into that allowed you to have that success? And as you said, the Olympics, a dream for you, to finally accomplish that dream with all that pressure on you. How did you two deal with that? Because I know that's something the fans love to hear about and are always curious about.
Yeah, I appreciate the question. It's something that I've thought a lot about, and it feels like it's just a whole bunch of learning opportunities that collide together to form a final success. And whether you talk about the 2017 trials, the 2021 trials, whether you talk about last year's men's world championships, falling short to qualify for the Olympics, or to qualify the country last April for the Olympics in the men's discipline. On Korey's side, it's very similar, and we both fell short in April, end of March, early April. For our disciplines, and there's a lot of learning that goes into that. There's a lot of pressure when you're not only just playing for yourself, but you're playing for your whole country, and you have the overarching Olympics, the Olympic dream that's now on your back. And we got off to a hot start, and then we kind of fell apart and didn't play our best curling. Moving into mixed doubles worlds, we just wanted to really focus on actually enjoying ourselves and not really thinking about the situation, not really thinking about what's on the line, but more so just thinking about, we're playing the game that we love, and we know we're good. We know we're a great team, and we know how to make shots. So why don't we just go ahead and do that?
It's just that easy sometimes, right?
I know it's not that easy, but part of it too is not overthinking it and just letting yourself do what you do. And I think when you get tense and tight in those moments, and you overthink things, that's when you start falling apart. And I've definitely done that in the past. Like, look at the results. And I think what Korey and I were able to do was just relax and enjoy ourselves, and play for each other and play loose. And we owe some of that to our coaches, Kathy and Phil, who help add to that environment and that kind of culture on the ice. When the chemistry is good, when everyone's feeling good, and when you can create a light atmosphere where you're all just loose and playing and having fun, usually you put your best stuff out there. And so, Korey and I didn't put our best stuff out there, I don't think. She played pretty damn good. I didn't put my best stuff out there, to be honest, at Worlds. But what I would say is we shined when the moments mattered the most, and we're planning on preparing so we can bring our best stuff in February. So,
do you think that this is going to allow you to play a little more freely at the fours trials? You already know you're going to the Olympics. Obviously, you want to win it for your guys, but I'm just talking about you personally. Is there an element of maybe it creates a little freedom for you mentally going into the fours trials?
I think that's definitely an advantage. I do think that it will give me that little bit of relaxed mindset. I want this so bad for my men's team too. They put so much effort and hard work into it, and so does everyone else out there. Anyone's going to tell you that, but we've put a lot of work in together, and I want it badly for my men's team. But it definitely will enable me to be a little more relaxed, a little more free, a little more loose when we're on the ice at trials.
I want to talk about your fours team a little bit. You brought it up already. Not the world championships that you were hoping to have. You finally broke free. You finally broke free. Broke through. I was combining free and through into a word I've invented called through. And you won the US championships, and you got to go to the worlds. And as you said, you had some big wins there. You beat Italy, you beat Switzerland, but ultimately you finished 4-8. What were some things you learned at that championship about yourself, about your guys, that you're going to kind of bring now into this upcoming season that's got so much at stake for you?
Yeah, I think, and we've talked a lot about this too, which is been really great. Just being able to, have those conversations as a team and just talk openly and honestly. I think that we just kind of let the, the moment, tighten us up a little bit, and, sometimes when things aren't going well, you kind of get pressed down and you kind of tighten up and you kind of quiet down a little bit. And, those are the moments when you need to communicate more and you need to be a little bit more supportive. And I think all of us, sort of tried to, keep ourselves together so much, and focused on what we needed to do to try to increase our performance, to try to make the next shot versus leaning on each other just a little bit more, to try to, be a little bit more, have a little more community on the ice and help each other shine. So I think that's been a really good learning opportunity for us. I don't think we hadn't had that experience as a team yet, under those circumstances. So I do think that when it comes down to it, that is probably one of the best learning opportunities we could have, even though it doesn't feel very good. Not in the moment, not afterwards, and you don't really like to see that stat afterwards. But it is what it is, and nothing's perfect in life. But if we can use that to our advantage moving into November, and really lean on those situations. So if that something does happen, things aren't going well, we're hitting adversity, maybe we lose the first game or the first two games at trials. Okay, well, let's turn things around and, use each other to pull ourselves out of this slump and respond here, because we know how this feels. We know what we talked about, what we need to do here, and now let's go do it. Let's have some fun and let's relax a little bit and play some curling.
Yeah, so it sounds like the key for you really is just, if you're having a good time, then you're probably having a good time.
Bing, 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 bing. That is totally it. I mean, if you're not having a good time, why are you doing it anyways? Like, that's me. Like, if I don't enjoy something, I'm probably not going to want to continue doing it. So, as long as I'm enjoying curling, I'm going to be here for a while, but, it's everything in life. I try to only do things that I enjoy doing in work and everything outside of sport. Otherwise, life's short, so enjoy it.
True. Couple more. I want to talk about the US in general. Obviously, we've been talking about Rock League, but just talking about the competitive side of the US, it does really feel like we're at sort of a turning point here. We just had the retirement of John Landsteiner. Chris Plies has kind of indicated this might be his last quad. Seems like a lot of things are up in the air. I know obviously you have a job to do with your team this year, but have you thought about what it might look like after this year? It does kind of feel like there is going to be a state of flux that's happening in USA curling after this season. Is that something you're thinking about at all right now? Do you have a sense of where that's going to go? I assume you're going to keep playing, but Do you think that you were sort of on the precipice of a big shakeup here?
I definitely see I definitely see, opportunities for shakeups and people are going to be retiring. I'll still be curling after this cycle. But it all depends kind of how things go, so I'm not going to make any promises. I'm going to just enjoy the moment and play the best curling I can play and come in this season and, go from there.
Okay, sounds good. Way to dodge that question with a Matrix-like efficiency. The bullets were whizzing by him, and he was moving out of the way at great speed. You posted this thing to your, pardon me. You posted this thing to your Instagram story, and I took a picture of it because I wanted to ask you about it. It was a quote from F. Scott Fitzgerald. It was kind of a long thing, but it started out with, "For what it's worth, it's never too late, or in my case, too early to be whoever you want to be." Who does Korey Dropkin want to be? Obviously, this means something to you and you're thinking about it. Who do you want to be?
I want to be someone that people around me can lean on. I want to be someone that's known for putting his best effort in everything he does. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And, I want to be a family man and I want to be, just as good of a human being as I can, in the curling world, in my personal life, in my family life, and in the business world. I just, yeah, that's it pretty much. I appreciate, I was in Coeur d'Alene when I saw that quote at a coffee shop, and I just kind of reflected on it, and I took a picture of it because I'm like, it's important, especially like not everyone's in a situation where, they're appreciating everything about life. And to be honest, I didn't know who I was for the longest time. We take disc reports, and kind of tells you sort of your personality, and my personality, my disc has changed 3 times in the last 10 years. And it's true. It's because I've been kind of searching for myself, and now it's actually stabilized quite a bit. And it's because I feel like I found myself. I kind of know who I am a little bit more now than I ever really have. And I'm definitely someone that's feel like I've had to be more adaptive than anything in the past. And now I feel like I, know who Korey wants to be and appreciate life a little bit more. And, don't really, care as much about what others think, and just appreciate me for who I am and the people around me. And I want to see the best out of the people around me as well. So like when it comes down to it, like I just enjoy using my platform to also spread some good vibes too. And I thought that was something that maybe there's someone out there that could have used a quote like that at the time. So
perhaps not an accident that, as you say, you're starting to figure yourself out, you're also starting to have the most success you've ever had on the ice.
Yeah, I don't think that is any accident for sure. It's it's funny the way that life works, and I definitely have gone through a lot of years of soul searching and trying to figure out who I am and who I want to be, and what kind of what my identity is. And I think the last couple of years I've definitely started to hit the definitely found some green lights.
I love it. That's great, man. Final question. If you do win the Pancontinental Playoffs and you go back to the Pancontinentals, do you think the ice makers are going to let you on the backboards before the game starts?
Probably not.
And why wouldn't they let you out there, Korey? What happened?
Oh, man. Well, I was, warming up with a little golf swing, and
this is in Calgary, right? The Pancons?
Yeah. And accidentally, the head of my broom came off and slid right down the ice at the ice maker as he was pebbling, and went right under his feet, like right between his feet. So there was a bit of a shock moment my coach Laser and I had, like the whole world just kind of went still, and we both watched it as it just dodged the whole mess. So yeah, that's probably why they won't let me back on the backboard before the ice is ready. So
are you still golf swinging before games, or is that over now?
That's over now.
I love it. Thanks, Korey. This was great. I hope you enjoy the rest of what sounds like a fairly limited summer before you're back on the ice. I know the fans are looking forward to seeing you. The first slam in the US. You've got the Olympics coming up. You've got the trials coming up. It's going to be a huge year for you. Can't wait to see it all unfold. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, John. Appreciate you.